How you doing, folks? Okay, here's what we did. I remember what we did on the last video. This is actually just making this 30 minutes after that, but I got enough storage in this canned in this phone here that these little videos I can just stack 2 or 3 of them right in a row on the same day, and then you gotta mess around. And that's what we're doing. Okay, Jacob, we are doing a couple things I don't do to other people's saws, and there's a reason. I do not want only so much power out of a saw, okay? Straight away. I've learned through the years that there's a point you better stop for reliability. Okay, but the reason I did what I'm going to explain to you, some of you aware that there's a saw going to bucking at some point here. As soon as I get everything gathered up and get time. I got to find another saw. Jeez, somebody's got a 372. They ain't using it, and they want to see Buck and Billy have it. I got to find a 372 or a 365 or a 371 or something. Email me. And I about got everyone that ain't locked down right now around here that I've even bought a few that really weren't for sale. The guy says, oh, if you're going to give that damn much. Well, you can't. There's only so many. Okay, so anyway, what we're doing. I wanted to use this one particular cylinder that this saw came with. Yeah, it's got the darker gas tank, had the Molly cylinder. You seen it last time. Okay. Without the base gasket, the piston was hitting the squish. Okay, I had to do a whole crap load of measuring from the base and go back and lay everything out in reverse to the top of the cylinder. And we know what the bore and stroke is on these, or, the stroke is what mattered. And I checked my math 3 times. Well, what I ended up, to be safe, I had to take 30 thousandths off the piston itself. So we did that. And I had already checked the timing and one thing and another, and I know where I'm headed with the numbers. And instead of raising the transfers to get over a dome piston, I'm going to share something that I normally don't share just because it can get you in trouble. Be very careful of this one. When you have air going across the top of the piston, it goes nice and smoothly. You put a dome on a piston, it's got to hit it, and it kind of does a thing. Okay, so what you can be done is you can take, for the width of your transfers on the sides of your piston, and machine, it's just a bevel, so that you're promoting the air to go over the edge of the piston. I will do that sometimes rather than raise the transfers along with raising my exhaust port, which decreases the blowdown number. Okay, I did that on this piston. Now, the reason I'm willing to do that on this one, I'm going to lighten up on a couple other things just so we don't get too much. I want Jacob to have a saw for a long time, okay? I really do. There's 5 things that I normally don't do to a saw. And there's reasons for it. Number 1, it's not necessary to get enough power. We've talked about that. I'm going to build a hot one for bucking. This is one of 5 things that I did to this one. I'm going to do 4 more right now around. Each one of them is going to get one special well, 3 of them is. 1 isn't. We're using a titanium wrist pin and bucking saw. And that's because Dominant was kind enough to donate a couple. And we can get more anytime we need them. And bucking knows that about 24 tanks of gas, change that wrist pin. It's real easy to do. You seen yesterday how quick it took to get the cylinder off. It don't take no time, and he's not used to doing that, but he's more than capable of it. He just don't know how good he is sometimes, and we're going to teach him how good he is. Saving that weight saves 240 pounds off the rotation mass every time that piston changes direction. 240 pounds. Just going to a titanium wristband. Okay, that with these other things that we do, really wakes them up. And so that's what it's going to get. So I have to practice each one of these things. I haven't done them in a long time. So this was one. This is the big one right here. This, what we did today, was the big one. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to share with you the raw data numbers. We write everything. We map this out. Actually, Kenzie came up with a nice graph chart. I told him what I used to do is I would actually make a pie chart and put these numbers on. Then I could see what the timing, opening, closing meant, and why just going just that little bit makes big number changes, and what's safe and what isn't. Okay, you are not going to know any of this by just going in there with a grinder. Do not do that, people. I'm warning you. You'll get in trouble. Okay, I'm going to move you. So, as long as I don't make you dizzy. Yeah, my other horse. Yeah, hey, you see that? He's a happy guy, Eddie. Boy, I tell you what, I make a mess, don't I? Okay, now what we're doing is I have already located bottom dead center. Okay, I've checked it 3 times. It has to duplicate 3 times in a row. Don't turn it with your darned. I see this timing on this. The advance is already where I like it. Some of them ain't. Okay, so what we do, we shut the lights off where we can see. Now, this is actually easy for me because I'm going to be able to tell first ray of light. See that? Isn't that something? See that? See how that opens from one side to the other? That's something that they do for a reason. I kind of go with that. It creates a swirl coming out the exhaust. So technically that opens right about right there, okay? Actually, that camera's picking it up earlier than I am. Maybe I like that. Okay. That is showing 100 degrees from top dead center is where that opens, okay? So we're going to write that down. Okay, on my blowdown, 100. Okay, and then we're going to go right around until it shuts off. Okay, now this right here, I can actually turn my light on because you don't need to see this part of it, really. What I'm doing, okay, it just hit bottom dead center, and I see that it's zeroed, and I want to know where it's going up. I just do the reverse. I will shut the light off. When I see the light come up through the cylinder, first ray of light. Okay, that works both ways on that exhaust, friends. All right. Now, that is 84 degrees after bottom dead center. A, B, D, C. Okay? 84 degrees after bottom dead center. So I write that down. Okay, so 100 degrees after top dead center, it's ATDC. And then 84 degrees after bottom dead center. Okay? So if you really wanted to know what the total is, you take your 100 and you just count right around, and then you can tell what you're over, how much it's open the duration. how long that exhaust is open, okay? Now, on your intake, we want to know what the intake is now, okay? I've already set the transfer timing on the piston in this particular saw. So what I actually do is I rotate that back to top dead center, okay, and now my piston's all the way up, okay, it goes all the way down. Now, I want to know when my intake opens, okay? So I look at where the skirt of that is at the lowest point of the intake. It's 50 thousandths. You can use a 50 thousandths feeler gauge. That's where flow starts. Just get a little crack there because that ain't exactly right. I've never felt that. Okay, so my intake is opening at 102 after bottom dead or 104 rather after bottom dead center, right? Okay, so we write that down. Okay, intake open. After bottom dead center, ABDC. Okay, now remember our exhaust closed at 84 degrees after bottom dead center. Intake opens at 102. The difference between that is what I got you all angled, you don't mind, do you? Okay, the difference between that, I might as well turn you. Here we go. Then you can see me. The difference between 84 and 104, or 102, 84, 94, 104. So it's 18 degrees, okay? Do not push that number too close. It ain't like what you do with a four-stroke engine with a camshaft. You want to have some overlap. Don't do that. Boy, you keep 6 degrees anyway. So you can get an idea how much I can take off the floor of the intake. I already know I probably want to take right around 25 thousandths or something like that because we gained 20 on the gasket. I do not like exceeding 50. Intake duration is a funny thing. It's squirrely with a two-stroke. Sometimes you're better off not messing with that on certain saws. Like them open port saws, I don't really push that real hard. I'm going to stay in a safe area with this because we built some power in by what we did with the piston. We built more than I want to have. I'm going to keep them numbers back a little bit, okay? We'll probably pull a little more torque out of the saw by doing that. I'm going to tell you how that works. You got to remember in a two-stroke, the air, they're a very inefficient air pump is what a two-stroke engine really is. They're blowing and sucking in every direction all the time. And you have to wrap your head around that. I have made, I think my first video that I ever made where the camera's straight up and down, I explained some of that. It's a difficult thing to explain. I just know it and how it works. If you really seriously want to know the whole in and out, go back to watch that video of how a two-stroke works. I explained that fairly well. If you still have questions, email me. Or if there's enough of you, I'll just go ahead and, in the areas where you didn't understand, I'll finish it up, okay? So, we're at 102 after bottom dead center is where we're opening, right? Okay, now I not want to know where that closes. Okay, that means, okay, it's drawing fuel, the piston's coming up, and it's pulling the air fuel, okay, and it closes once I get past top dead center. Okay, 86 degrees. I don't know if you can see that. Is that good enough? That's where the edge of the piston is. Okay, here's where we're at. Okay. It's 86 degrees. I use the edge of the piece of wire right there. That's what I see. Hopefully I got it exactly how I see it. Okay, so we write that number down. Okay. Intake closes 86 degrees after top dead center. ATDC. Get used to doing that. Okay. Now, when you look at that, the next number that you're worried about is your blowdown. It's at 100 right now. It's at 86 now. So if I change that to, let's say, 96 degrees, which is probably where it's going to be is the opening, I got to watch what I do with my blowdown, because that's right now at 100. Okay, I don't mind the two being open going that direction that bad. That could be really tight. Do not get it too far. I'm going to take this saw, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go about 3 degrees. I'm going to target for 3 degrees. I want to see the blowdown at 97. If it hits 96, that's great. Okay? So we're going to break that down in this column over here, what I want. I want 97 in this particular saw. I'm splitting hairs. I normally don't split hairs because I'm practicing the finer work for Buchan's hot rod. And it's good for me to step my game up, you know what I mean? You guys don't have to worry about all that, getting that close. Okay, now my intake opens at 102. Now, I think I would like to see that just a little earlier. Let me get back to thinking about this. To 90, okay. 102, 10. I would like to see this intake on this one open at, I believe, about 93. I want to hit 93. I got to do the math, make sure it's in a circle. That's all it works. Kenzie, if you are willing to share it and want to, put up your graph and show something you've already done, or a couple of them, how you colored that graph in. It's a pie chart. These numbers start making real sense. When you first start porting, that's a really nice thing to do. In fact, it'd be cool to be able to, there used to be a site you could download one for 4-stroke, and I would just scratch all the numbers out. And what you can do is you can track where it was, opening and closing from the factory, and then what you've done to alter that. And what that allows all of us to do at the end, because you get to see both and how the saw performed. You write your little notes in, hey, I think I could have done better in this area or that. But you get the idea where your torque and your horsepower comes from. They don't travel together. They're two different things. And so you know that by being careful on your intake side, there's where you're pulling a little torque there. Now on your blowdown, you're building your horsepower, but you're taking torque away. There's a balance between that. So if you get down around 92, you better rev the crap out of that saw, because you've lost some of that torque. You've killed your torque far enough. You got to gain it back by pulling more RPMs. All right, this is what you got to do. And it does no good to turn a saw any harder than it actually likes. Because if it's not making horsepower and you got it at 15,000, quit doing that. It ain't no faster than a cut. But if you design this saw using this right here, scientific data, you can dictate where that horsepower lands. Okay? I'm going to get to porting this cylinder. I'm going in for a cup of coffee first, and we'll get the first video loaded up. I hope I helped a lot of you out. Thank you so much.